So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jacqueline A. Ularte, and I'm gonna have a video discussion on the questions that we had on our last quiz, and I'm going to discuss on the answers on the questions number 15, 16, and 17. So the question number 15 is, which statement is incorrect regarding analytical procedures? And the choices are, when such analytical procedures use data aggregated at a high level, the results of those analytical procedures provide a clear-cut indication about whether a material misstatement may exist. And another choices is choices B, analytical procedures may be helpful in identifying the existence of unusual transactions or events and amounts, ratios, and trends that may indicate matters that have financial statement and audit implications. And choice C, in performing analytical procedures as risk assessment procedures, the auditor develops expectations about plausible relationships that are reasonably expected to exist. And the last choice is when comparison of these expectations with recorded amounts or ratios developed from recorded amounts yields unusual or unexpected relationships. The auditor considers those results in identifying risk of material misstatement. So the answer for this question is choice A. It is when such analytical procedures use data aggregated at a high level, the results of those analytical procedures provide a clear-cut indication about whether a material misstatement may exist. So what makes it incorrect? Well, analytical procedures performed as risk statement procedures may identify aspects of the entity of which the auditor was unaware and may assist in assessing the risk of material misstatement in order to provide a basis for designing and implementing responses to the assessed risk. And analytical procedures may enhance the auditor's understanding of the client's business. However, when such analytical procedures use data aggregated at a high level, the results of those procedures provide only a broad initial indication. So what makes it incorrect is because of the word clear cut. It should be broad. That is why it is the incorrect one. Then the next, well, the other choices, it was correct because it can be found in our book, Auditing Theory. It is written there all about analytical procedures that it helps to identify unusual transactions, that um, that risk statement procedures, the editor develops an expectations about plausible relationships. So it is there's a basic theory about this. And the question number 16 is, we have, when the auditor determines that detection risk regarding a financial statement, assertions for a material account balance or class of transactions cannot be reduced to an acceptable level, the auditor should express choice A, qualified or disclaimer of opinion, choice B, qualified or adverse opinion, choice C, unqualified opinion with explanatory paragraph, or choice D, unqualified opinion. And the answer is qualified or disclaimer of opinion. It's because qualified, it means that the auditor is not confident on his or her opinion because the detection risk cannot be reduced to the unacceptable level, and disclaimer of opinion because the situation provided on the problem is the detection risk can't be reduced, meaning that there are some procedures that the auditor didn't conduct or some documents that he wasn't able to check or audit. That is why the auditor can provide an assurance, and it can't be the choices on unqualified or adverse, not qualified and also qualified or adverse, because there's no misstatements. Only the detection risk is the problem that can't be reduced to an acceptable level. If it is adverse opinion, meaning there's gross misstatements, but there's no gross misstatements on the situation provided, that is why it is a disclaimer of opinion. Next question is question 17. We have the audit risk model consists of audit risk is equal to inherent risk times control risk times detection risk. So the detection risk is the dependent variable because it is the only thing that the auditor can control. What is the acceptable level of detection risk if the assess level of inherent risk is high and the control risk is low? So we have a choices. Medium, highest, lower, or higher. And the answer is medium. Why? Because if if the if the inherent risk is high and the control risk is low, then the detection risk must be moderate and should rely on controls and perform moderate level of substantive test. And if it can't, and also the answer cannot be lower, it's because it will only be lower if both the control risk and the inherent risk are high. Then the detection risk will need to be minimized through increased audit procedures, wherein the auditor will take steps to improve the audit procedures through targeting audited or audit selections or increase sample size. And the answer will not be higher because if both inherent risk and control risk are both low, then the detection risk should be higher and the level of audit procedures required will be lower, and this would reduce the amount of substantive assurance. So that ends for my video discussion, and thank you for listening.